Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. This morning I'm looking at an excellent book which has come to us from the Child Poverty Action Group, and it's about winning benefit appeals. It's a very practical book and extremely important in my view because of the immense detail and information on how to present your case, most of which is actually probably common sense, but it's all in one place, which gives the reader probably a lot of additional help and support in what can be a very difficult area for them, with the emotions running and everything else. This is the book here. It's called Winning Your Benefit Appeal. It's a little paperback. It's got a subtitle, What You Need to Know. There's the spine. There's on the back quite a lot of detail which you can see. It's very light and it's a very easy book to read. There's a little index at the back. Then you've got a very useful glossary in the appendix, which actually deals with some of the information that you've got, which you need to know about in terms of the words used. There's the front page there. Then we get a note about Simon Osborne is the author of this book. He's the welfare rights worker at CPAG. Then there's a note about the Child Poverty Action Group itself, general advice, and then there are a list of the 7 chapters and the appendix. The chapters are the introduction, the appeal system, making an appeal, preparing your appeal, illness and disability appeals, the appeal hearing, after the appeal, and then the glossary. After the appeal is quite important as well, because you need to know the aftermath of what's going to happen. Now you have a little index with each chapter, so the introduction is a little index of what's actually in it, and then you just run through. And you've also got some boxes which deal with particularly pertinent information about questions you may have, avoiding a less favourable decision tactics, that sort of thing, which I think is very helpful. That deals specifically with illness. As it says, it's a very good little book. It's not expensive either, and it's something that I would think you will find in all the citizens' advice bureaus and law centres. It's certainly something which I think is a very great hands-on expertise for anybody involved in this type of appeal. Now, my wife Elizabeth and I have written a review of this book, and we've given it the title, A New and Important Hands-on Advice Handbook Guide for Social Security Benefit Applicants from the Child Poverty Action Group. And as I say, the advice given is first class. This is what we say. If you're appealing against a decision about your entitlement to social security benefit, then this excellent practical guide from CPAG is just for you. The author Simon Osborne is a welfare rights worker at CPAG, and he offers constructive advice on how to prepare, construct and present a successful appeal, with essential practical guidance on how to win your appeal. And that's obviously the basis, the mission of the book. There are not that many hands-on books available for this type of appeal, and the tactical tips provided will be of great use to applicants who may well be very much in awe of the entire process, as many are vulnerable persons. The work also includes a sample submission to make the process more understandable for the reader. It gives out invaluable support too for the applicants and any advisors in what's a difficult area of welfare law, and will be a great friend to the applicant. The title Winning Your Benefit Appeal, with the subtitle What You Need to Know, does just that. Like other CPAG titles covering all aspects of what are difficult areas of welfare law, it's become well established and highly regarded, and it makes a major and certainly vital contribution to the aims of the CPAG, which exists to promote action for the prevention and relief of poverty among children and families with children. Do read the introductory chapter which sets the scene on how to use this guidebook. Always check the rules which may affect you and find out about the procedures which can be confusing at first. Remember, you don't have to be legally qualified to represent yourself, so the book is easy to use, jargon-free with clear advice and useful examples. The biggest single problem, I think, that both applicants looking for advice and their advisors have is that the law determining benefit entitlements is both unnecessarily complex and frequently changing. Problem now covering many other areas of welfare law as well. So do look at the glossary of terms in addition at Appendix 1, which we found most helpful. As I've indicated, there are 7 main chapters in about 150 pages of this paperback book. They cover the following. There's the introduction, the appeal system, basically how it works, making an appeal, preparing your appeal, illness and disability appeals, which are a slightly separate area, the appeal hearing itself, after the appeal, and then the glossary. Let me conclude by saying that I'd like to thank Simon Osborne and CPAG for maintaining these high levels of advice for your guides and handbooks. The series that they produce are really excellent pieces of advice for vulnerable people, because they really do make the difference with how to avoid pitfalls and to maximise your chances of success on appeal. Let me just show you the book again. Very light paperback, 150 pages, there we are. And if we just open it in the middle, you do have it's called box, it's called a box C here, for instance. What it is actually, it's a question which you probably raise. When you're reading the book, you think, oh, what am I going to do? For instance, this one says, where can I look up the law? And it then tells you, refers obviously to some of their own publications, but it gives you advice. And of course, you do have a lot of, if you have access to the website, you do have a lot of information now on the web. There's weighing medical evidence, that's another one. I'm very pleased with this book. Let me just remind you of the glossary at the back, which is also extremely helpful. Again, some of these words, if you're a lawyer, you get used to some of the words, but the trouble is sometimes they can be a bit confusing. So it is useful to have a look at the glossary if you've got any queries. I'd like to thank all concerned anyway for an excellent book, and good luck with your appeal and win it. All the best. Bye-bye.